Hello, this is a prepaid collect call from
Charlie.
an incarcerated individual at the Leon County Jail. This call is not private. It will be recorded and may be monitored. If you believe this should be a private call, please hang up and follow facility instructions to register this number as a private number. To accept charges and consent to this recorded call, press 1. To repeat, thank you for using Securus. You may start the conversation now.
Hi, Charlie.
Well,
Yeah, goodbye.
yeah, no, I don't know why I feel that, but no, it's just, I had so much hope. And like, the crazy thing is that I really wasn't getting that excited until this past weekend. And then after that, you had Thursday, Friday for the week before. Then you had this whole week, last whole week. And then I had the Wendy's attorney testified on Friday. Actually, maybe Thursday. And no, it was all day Thursday. Friday.
She was Friday.
Yeah, okay.
Friday morning.
So I sat up there and testified from Thursday at 8:45 till 5:45 at night. I come back, they put me on the stand for another hour Friday morning. And Kaplan asked me for another 2 hours. I'm like, okay, you're full on questioning, ask me anything. It doesn't come down to that. And Dan said to me, he said, if I were to give you a score, I think you'd get a 95. He said he was very happy with how I testified. My demeanor, my delivery, how I was to the point, but not elaborated on some stuff, was personable. He came across fantastic. Everybody, Bree was telling me reading to me things that people were finally writing online about positive things. Finally, people are writing positive things about the case.
Yeah.
And I was literally I was on cloud nine over the weekend. I was I'm going to see my son. I'm going to get out. I'm going to go to see Scott. I'm going to go there. I'm going to have these plans over there. I'm going to have these plans. I'm going to enjoy my time with my dog. I can't wait to be on my boat. I can't wait to see my son. I'm planning on what restaurant I wanted to go to. I'd given away my food on Sunday night because I'm thinking okay, they're not going to let me go from the courthouse. I gave away all my food to the two guys in front of us, and I'm feeling good. I was so sure that I was going home that I didn't want to have people just pick my food. I'd rather give it to the two guys I'm friends with. So they gave me 2 packages of fish back, and once I go back in the pod, they'll give me some of the food back. And they just walked me through the pod, and I'm go get me some tuna fish, and they went up and got themselves. But I was no, I was 90%
People said he has an answer for everything because it's the truth. Okay? Then they said, I believe him. He was definitely not part of this killing. Another one. It made her look absolutely desperate several times with incredible reaches quote, you're untouchable, right? She had to go to those kinds of traps, but they have nothing substantial. He will walk. You may think he's guilty, but they haven't been close to proving it. And another one, if I were on that jury, there's no way I can say 100% he's guilty. His ex-girlfriend is totally unbelievable. She was shown to be such a liar. I mean, on and on and on and on.
Well, Bree's reading me what they're saying. Bree's reading to me what they're saying. I'm on cloud nine. I'm making phone calls over the weekend. I spoke to John Hader. I spoke to Mike Miz. I was just feeling great, thinking everything is going as good as you could have hoped. Absolutely as good as you could have hoped. Kaplan got to the point that she wanted to ask me what does Bree do for Dave, and how old is she? Why are you asking me her occupation and her age?
Because she had nothing to talk about.
Because you know that she's his nanny and you're about to make me look bad. So instead I said, well, Bree went to college, and then after she graduated college, she worked for Dave, and she was 24, and I was 39, and that's the mother of my child. Like, I shut her up. Like, she didn't have anything to say about, how old is, she was hoping that it was going to be, oh yeah, she's a nanny and she's 17. And then she had another Georgia Catholic moment. Whoa! Did you get in trouble? No. No, she was actually 25, not 24, but it was like, it was, I felt when I was honestly, Mom, I felt when I was on the stand and she asked me, what does Bree do for Dave and how old is she? I was like, you have nothing else to ask me.
I know.
You've run out of questions. I mean, Mom, I've never in my life gone from one extreme of emotions to that, like this. I've never come close. Not.
We were all on a high. After you testified, we were all on a high. And Bree is right. All these messages came in positively. They couldn't believe how...
Miles called up. He couldn't wait to tell us.
He said he's totally innocent. Totally innocent. And his son-in-law, who's a lawyer, called. He is totally innocent. He said he's getting off because they have absolutely nothing. I mean, this is from intelligent people. That's my problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. That's the catch. That's the jury of my peers. The jury of my peers was not there. There was one juror, number 15, that he would have said he's a juror of your peers. He knows that if you're going to find a guy guilty of first-degree murder, you better be so sure you know what happened. You better be really, 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 really sure you know what happened. But they just had Georgia going, listen, if you use your common sense and you see what's going on here, all this code talk, just, you know what guilty is. If you feel he's guilty, vote guilty. That's like saying, like I said before, like you think the Kansas City Chiefs will beat the Dolphins. I mean, that may be your feeling, but you sure aren't going to bet more than, you're not going to say I'm 90% sure, 95% sure, 99% sure. Like, that's the realm that you have to be. You're going to take somebody's fucking life.
Yes.
Like, I can't get over. Like, you're taking somebody's fucking life from them, and you're destroying lives, and you're being shown fucking emails, or like a book that Wendy wrote, or autopsy photos. Like, the autopsy photos are horrible. I didn't write the book, and she can say whatever the fuck she wants. She used it to rub it in their face to be like, look, this rich, educated white girl is laughing at you on her way to civilization. And isn't that what she did? Isn't that what you did? Tallahassee was just a stop on your way to civilization. You even said it in the book. You were foreshadowing. You were making fun of these people.
Nothing. She had absolutely nothing. And they had a liar for their big witness. So nothing.
And two big witnesses. The guy.
Yeah. No, listen. Yeah, but I don't want to talk about that. But I'm just saying, like, yes. But I'm just saying, like, even when somebody was lying, they're just like, well, it's okay if they're lying. You read these emails. Like, holy shit. I was just sitting there thinking, honestly, what I was thinking? You know what I was thinking? If I knew it was going to be like this.
I know what you were thinking. I was thinking.
This is a fucking TV production. This is a TV production she's putting on. So wow, everybody. Like, look at the audience and look at the TV production and look at Miss Tallahassee putting on her show. Am I like that? Like, I think Dan couldn't have done a better job He could have done the case 100 times up here with an anal and attached to the case. He wasn't going.
Yeah, I know it. He knows it.
Yeah.
Believe me, he did. He is sick about it. Oh.
Because I don't think Dan's blowing smoke up my ass when he tells me things.
No.
And he made it like, he's very straightforward. You know, he dissected the case and broke it all down. He never planned on walking into a circus with a TV show.
No, he did not. He did not. He was excellent. Opening with everything he did. His cross-examinations. I mean, he was terrific. He really was.
Yeah, I mean, there were people he knew he didn't want to beat up on the stand, and he just let them know. There was nothing to beat him up on. Like,
Right.
he didn't want to lose points trying to go after law enforcement. You know, like, okay, like he could have objected to some of the stuff Sanford was saying. He was just like, it makes us look bad if we're going after them.
Meanwhile, none of that would have mattered, hon. None of that would have mattered.
The God's honest truth. The God's honest truth is that I didn't stand a chance. And it wasn't because of the evidence. It was because of the TV show. It was because of 2020. It was because of Dateline. It was because of the blogs. It was because of the podcast. It was because of the newspaper, the local stations, the out-of-town stations covering, Court TV covering it in a small-ass town, and you're an outsider from Miami. Rich, white, Jewish. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Just,
Still can't believe it.
I mean, I feel better when I'm talking to you guys, other than when I'm not talking to you. I'm looking at the shit I'm feeling in myself. It's like, hey, it feels good to be able to talk. It's like,
I know.
voice my opinion.
I'm hopeful that he will see you earlier tomorrow, and that you'll get out of there, because
Some point during the day, he says,
some point during the day. Is he there? He's there just like regular out, like up to 5?
I think it's just regular hours. Yeah.
All right. So hopefully during the day.
Did you notice the friction in my nose between my eyes was all red?
What was that from?
Did you see that on TV or no?
No.
No, check this out. So you don't have tweezers. So I'm sitting watching the Heat game, and I've got my index finger and my thumb, and I'm using my fingernails, as like little pinchers. So I'm like grabbing I'm tugging the eyebrows between my two eyebrows, like in the center, right? So like if you take your two fingernails, you can pinch it, and then pull the hair out, right? So I'm just sitting watching the Heat game doing that, and I must have had that on my fingers. It's being so fucking disgusting. And it looked like I was breaking out with like a pimple, another pimple, another purple, and it looked like a herpes virus. So I didn't put anything on it to keep it run its course. But I didn't touch it or rub my eye right here. It literally scabbed up with like a really thick scab. I didn't pull the scab off, and it had the scab up in 2 weeks. It was the first week of June. I had permanent scarring between my eyebrows, between my two eyebrows. Like it's all like, if you look at pictures of something, it's all red. Right? You have that little scar, it's like all scarring up and down it. It's like real red. But it's also because the skin is so pale. I'm like ash white. So, but it's real red. This is from the cherry. The skin was cherry red for like 2 months afterwards. I mean, people would come up and be like, "What happened to you?" I mean, it's still scarred, and that's from June, July, August, September, October, 5 months. And I haven't been in the sun, so it hasn't been sun damage. But
You didn't see it. You didn't see it. Because,
okay, no, I just thought the Democrats saw it.
no.
That didn't matter. I was looking forward to seeing charity, so I could ask my wife a little bit while taking my dog for a walk, going to get sushi, and my son. And like, you don't realize, like, I just kind of view being here, like, you know, I always say to you, this is like, you know, like, you're so strong, you're like, oh, you're so strong, and I'm like, as long as I get out of this, I'm fine. I'm fine with this like a year and a half. You know, I feel like as long as I get out of this, I'm fine. And I'm like, I said that every time, right? I'm like, as long as I get out of here, I'm fine. And I did my 18, 19 months in county jail, I'm fine. I'm fine. You know, I'm fine. And now it's like, I'm so fucking excited last weekend. Free sending me that stuff. Everything's going good. Dan's being very, very positive. And it's like, holy shit, Monday morning came. And it was like, she gave a 2-hour summary, like that kind of radio said. She put the movie pieces together for everybody. She put a masterful movie together. Like, yeah, this one's lying. Like, you don't need to listen to her. This one is backing him up with what it could be. You don't need to listen to him. Those are people involved in the case. Let's focus on this book. Let's focus on Ryan Fitzpatrick. Let's focus on what his sister said. Let's focus on text messages and emails. Like, Mom's talking about his dad's birthday present. You mean it's like made that day for? So the birthday present, the big birthday present. You know, yeah, his birthday is in 4 or 5 weeks, and we hadn't picked out exactly what we're going to do for it.
No evidence. Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, usually like 4 or 5 weeks before a big birthday, you're really crunching down on the plans. That's pretty normal. You don't take birthday presents and stuff down. No.
So Dan's driving back tomorrow. He's not going to. He was there today. I know.
I saw him today. I saw him behind glass. I mean, the glass is like 3-inch thick glass that you can't hear through. I mean, literally, like someone can scream on the other side of the glass, you wouldn't hear anything. You hold the telephone, they hold the telephone, and you talk on the telephone, and you look at each other through the glass. That's the attorney booth. So the attorneys can pretty much always come in here in the jail to see their clients very easily. It's just an attorney booth, so they don't have to have a bar. They get led into a booth, and you get led into the booth from the pod, and you're on 2 pieces of glass. Now, you know, but when I had the contact visits, they always had to have a guard sitting outside the door, and then I got to sit in the same room as him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we spent so much time, like, if I told you how much time we spent coming up here and, like, going over everything with me and making sure I was so knowledgeable, any questions he had, and just, you know, he worked. I know how hard he worked on this case. He told me that he's been working for 20-something years as a lawyer. And he said, I can honestly tell you, I've never come close to working this hard on the case. Because usually I don't know if I start putting the work in until 6-8 weeks before. Because I started a year before on this case.
I know that. Unbelievable what he did. Really and truly unbelievable.
Yeah. No, I mean, coming up, I can't tell you how much time we spent on the phone together, going over stuff, going over wires, you know, him asking me questions, you know, really knowing the discovery in the case. And you have to, because the 8 questions of witness, you got to be ready to refer to stuff and question them and cross-examine them right after. It's not like the state questions a witness and you get to do it the next day. You know, the state questions a witness and you're going up 30 seconds later. So, I mean, he was so I mean, not only was he so prepared, but, you know, he had Kate, and then he brought on, he had the jury consultants that he got, like the best. Like, bringing out the best. This was not like, this was not like, oh, well, I'll take this case, you know, pro bono, I want to get my name in the press. You know, I want to try to make a name for myself. Like, this is like, he did this to fucking win.
Oh, yes, he did.
Yeah, he did, Charlie.
Yes, he did.
He certainly did.
You know, and he believed that if he outworked everybody and knew the case better than anybody else and knew the facts, that they weren't going to be able to come close. I mean, I don't really think, like, sitting there in the case, I don't really think that they came close to any regard.
She just fluffed it over on that at the end. She just fluffed it over like it was nothing. Nothing.
I mean, everything he said, we were like, she kept saying, like, things wrong. And we're like, she still doesn't get it. Like, you look at me and be like, she still doesn't get it. She still doesn't get it. She didn't want to get it. She just wanted to pretend like that wasn't her defense, and she's just going to talk over us and say, look at these emails. Look at this book. She knew that all else failed, I could get this jury to fucking hate these people. And they didn't even say, like, you don't have to like them to acquit him. But you know what? They can't hate. If they hate you, then they feel like you're making fun of them, you're belittling to them, and you think you're better than them. You're arrogant. You think you're untouchable. They ain't gonna go there. Then they're like claying her hands at that level. She had nothing else to say.
Oh, she had nothing. She had nothing.
I mean, and you know, it's funny. That's what Mike Vincent to me when he spoke to him over the weekend. He's like, Charlie. He's like, I saw her questioning you, and it's almost like she gave up. Like she just wanted it.
Who said that to you?
Mike Vincent.
Oh, Michael. Yeah.
And I saw her. It wasn't like she came to like an abrupt end. Like she ran out of things. Like she got frustrated. She like kind of put her hands up. Like she wasn't. Like Bree was reading the quotes to me that people were writing, and it was like people were saying like, "I can't wait to see Kappelman hammer Adelson," and then like someone was writing back, "Looks like Adelson hammered Kappelman." Like these are people who are watching the trial.
Really watched, right?
Like watching a real trial, and it was a real trial going on. And I think she realized after Friday where she was, and said, "You know what? I'm going to put a close together that will make every single person on this jury despise these people when I'm done. Despise them. There's only one reason you're bringing Wendy's book and reading about the small stop that found the baby down in the city that sounds just like Tallahassee."
But she had no evidence. Everybody knows that she had no evidence, nothing. She just played around.
Yeah.
No fact. No fact.
Cut and paste, put your sweet southern accent on it, you know, finesse it, and like, y'all know what you got here. Why are they talking like this? Well, there's a good explanation, and I gave it over the course of a day and a half. But you just acted like even his own sister said, even his own sister said, okay, well, now you got the jury believing that, like, even his own sister doesn't support it. The way you said it, that's how it sounds. Like,
she summed it up for them, so they didn't have to think for themselves. She just gave them.
They didn't have to think. First, I'm going to get you to hate him, and then I'm going to give you a couple retard-proof clips of things to settle in your stomach. Then I'm going to show you some horrible photos and leave them on the screen. And let that soak in. And then I'm going to show you the photos again. Let that soak in again for another 5 to 10 minutes while I talk to you. make you real angry. So now you hate these people and you're angry. Like, that should, I mean, like, I got done watching, I told you, I said to Kate, I go, this is not good.
Yeah.
Like,
You know.
I'm looking.
Finished, and I said, who's she talking to? Third graders? I mean, it was ridiculous.
There was 5 black women on the jury, 1 black guy that was the sergeant I told you about, 1 redneck looking a little bit like 50-year-old guy, and 3 guys that looked like they were inbred that were like out of shape, 30 years old, looked like they never had a girl in their life, and like one of them worked at the Florida State bookstore. He was wearing his Florida State sweatshirt during the trial a couple times, and he worked at the Florida State bookstore. Another one's wife was a professor at Florida State, and another one had, so there were 3 people in the jury affiliated with Florida State. 3 affiliated with Florida State, and 5 with family members of law enforcement and a sergeant. And that's who we got. Can you imagine what we had to get off?
Yeah.
I mean, we had people that we had to get off because they were married. Her husband was a sheriff's officer, but she could be fair.
Yeah.
So her husband's a sheriff's officer, all the friends are sheriff's officers, but she can be fair. Yeah.
No.
And drank the Kool-Aid thinking I'd come up there and get a fair trial.
Wasn't going to happen.
What's that?
No, I said it wasn't going to happen, and I really, we all believed it would because you had the evidence, they did not. It didn't matter.
And Dan explained it to them so well.
Oh my gosh.
You know, if you're in doubt, that's good.
Yeah.
No, the jury made it so there's no doubt. I think that. So she's like, if you think they're guilty, you got to vote guilty. Like, you talk to someone who really knows, has a brain on their shoulders, to go beyond a reasonable doubt on a murder one case, you have to be so sure you know what happened.
That's right. And Dan explained that. It was clear.
You have to be so sure you know what happened. Not like, oh, I saved, or like, if they knew what happened, they would be showing Wendy's book, trying to rub it in their face. You think anyone on the jury has ever written a book?
Nothing to do.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Threw shit in there that had nothing to do with anything. Just as you said,
Oh,
just to antagonize, just the flavor.
It goes toward the mood. It says, Mom, it's like throwing everything in a salad to make it get some flavor.
They throw a lot of shit on the wall and see what it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I was flabbergasted when I heard her say, even his best friend, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh, I know. When you said about it. Even his best friend, Ryan Fitzpatrick,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Where are you getting this from? Doesn't matter where she's getting it from. Pull it out of your ass and just say it. Doesn't matter.
From him to me in 2014. Doesn't matter. You just called him my best friend. Now it seems like I opened up to my best friend, and then we had a falling out, and that's why I said what I said on the stand.
Yeah.
That's why I said what I said on the stand. And, you know, and he was a friend that I opened up to. He was my best friend. No, he wasn't.
And Dan also.
Well,
Dan went after him.
He did.
He went after him.
he tore him apart. But what it did, it made it look like he was a friend that we had a falling out. So maybe we were really close at one time.
No, I don't think, honestly, Charlie, I don't think they thought that. I don't think they thought much in general, to be honest with you. They weren't following that. They really weren't.
Yeah.
That wasn't
They were probably sleeping there.
I'm like, you know, this is honestly like,
You don't even have to.
And 12 people, all 12. Like, holy shit.
It was 5 o'clock. They wanted to go home. So that was it. I honestly didn't know if they actually deliberated. It would have taken at least 2 days. At least. You couldn't go over
through the evidence. To go through what Dan was telling them, look at this wire, look at what he says on this wire at this time. This wire is like ZZ at 3 minutes and 34 seconds. He says that, look it up. I'm looking at the jury. I was getting sick. Nobody was writing anything down. He was giving them exact instructions on where to look. It's just to fast forward and go to this. Nobody can give a shit. They weren't looking it up. I mean, I was sitting there getting sick to myself. Then they bring me down to the cell. My hands are chained to my waist, and I got leg shackles on. I'm talking 1 o'clock, like 1:15. I probably ate lunch till 2, and then deliberated probably 2 to 5, right?
No, they were gone at 5. They were gone at 5.
Yeah. So for 3 hours and 45 minutes, I sat in that cell by myself while the jury was deliberating.
They didn't deliberate.
And they came to the guy and said, we have a verdict. And I was like, do they have a question for the judge? Anytime there's a question for the judge, they bring you up. I go to him, a question for the judge? The guy looks at me, he goes, no. He goes, no, we got a verdict. No. And I go, can you tell me what it is? He goes, I can't tell you. And then I said, well, you have a verdict, could it get under? And he goes, no. He goes, the verdict means either they're all saying innocent or all saying guilty. And then I had to go walk up to the 2 different elevators and walk across shackles and chains. And then I'm like, hey, I put my tie and belt on. And he goes, no, the judge wants you in your chains. That's all. He goes, you're going to sit down and the jury won't see you because you'll have your hands underneath the table. But he doesn't want to take the shackles off. And I'm like, oh, fuck. The way he said it like that, like the judge doesn't even want you putting the tie on. I thought to myself, the judge knows.
No. We knew because of the time. We knew because of the time.
You know, we saw the time, Charlie.
Everybody.
Mm-hmm. And I saw your face. I mean, I knew before that just from the time, but I saw your face when you walked in. I mean, it was obvious.
They showed me walking in.
What did we see? We see him.
I saw you sitting without the tie.
Yeah, without the tie.
So the time.
Right.
And we know.
We
know.
Oh, I knew too. You could see it on my face. I wasn't even like. I mean, I was upset. I was in shock. I just put my head down for a second and then picked my head back up. But I was like, it literally, in 24 hours, I went from feeling like I was ready to win the Super Bowl to finding out I got cancer.
I know.
We were on the same roller coaster. Trust me, the same roller coaster. Everybody should have.
We were getting
excited.
Texts from people telling us, you know, how good you were. And I kept saying to Mom, I told you Charlie would be fine.
Yeah.
I told you.
Yeah. We already knew Dan was going to be great. I didn't know how he would be.
Listen, I said, like, I didn't know how well I was going to do either. I mean, like, that was not rehearsed with Dan. I did not know anything he was going to fucking ask me at all. Nothing. I knew none of what he was going to ask me at all. He's like, the reason you can't know is because when Kaplan asks you questions, if you come off too good with me and you're not good with her, it's going to look like we practice this. Because you got to, so his answer was really smart. He was like, listen, you have to know the case, whether I'm asking the questions or she's asking the questions. Otherwise, you're going to look really smart when I ask questions and really dumb when she asks questions. So you might as well know everything, and I'm not going to give you my notes. So I was nervous sometimes because I was like, I didn't know if I was getting it, you know, how I was looking or how I was sounding. And then she got up to me, and I thought I did really well.
You did. You beat her up. You beat her up.
Yeah. No, that's what people are saying. It's like he's hammering capitalism. Like, you know, everyone's saying like great stuff. The people are following that are smart. The people on the jury, Mom.
Oh, gosh.
And I hate to say it, but I fucking knew it. I knew, and I said it 100 times when I was in South Florida. The Tallahassee jury, the Tallahassee people, they're gonna fucking hate me. I'm gonna look like some rich white Jew coming from South Florida. I had no idea she was gonna put on the production that she did, but up until that point, I thought it was everything was coming together. Until she totally derailed from like, don't listen to the evidence, but just listen to what I tell you the evidence. Even his friend Ryan, best friend Ryan Fitzpatrick, even his sister. Here, let me show you snippets of like cut and paste. Like, I honestly, I would have been so much better off.
I know.
Looking at it from a different perspective, if you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like I hate, you know, you can't live in hindsight, but I had some smart people say things to me. I really believed in the system, and I thought like it was I thought it was a winnable situation, and I thought it would come across, and I feel like it did. Like literally up until she put 2 hours of like TV on.
Yeah.
After that, because what she was showing was in black and white. She went away from testimony. She went away from what people were saying. She was putting her new spin on the testimony, and she was giving it like the Georgia Kaplan Blair. They want to put the kids in Nazi uniforms. Oh, people are fucking crazy. Oh my God.
They didn't realize what they were doing. Stupid, yeah.
Stupid, really stupid. You don't just take stupid and take someone's life away.
Yeah.
Like, I still can't believe I lost my wife, but I did wrong. I really, I know it's not over. I know we're still going to play. Let me explain something to you. It's the likelihood of something getting like Dan said. He said, you know, you got to get an appellate lawyer. Just don't spend a fortune on them. They're expensive. You got to at least do it just in case.
Yeah.
Get something brought back on appeal, or maybe in 9 months from now, or juror writes or says something stupid. But he's like, this judge let a lot of stuff in. It's not like we have a lot of grounds to, you know, I definitely didn't have ineffective counsel. You know, you can either go ineffective counsel, blame the judge, or blame the jury. Other than that, the jury has spoken. It's very weird for me. Like, I'm fucking going crazy in my head, and the shit is that itself, thinking like I actually thought I was going to get a fair jury up here. This was a fucking shame. Like I never should have. When Enzo died, it should have been my side. I should have.
I know.
I know exactly what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying.
We know
Things you don't have to say. I know exactly what you're saying.
you know.
We both.
And like and now I feel like a fucking.
I know.
Now I feel like that.
Have you talked to Dan about this?
Yeah, no. I trust me. Kate wanted to get up and leave while I was talking to Dan. He spent 45 minutes with him today. She was ready to go, and I'm like, she was up on the side. I could take harder. I could tell she was touching him. Dan's like, give me 10 more minutes. I'm like, Dan, I know I'm competing myself. I know I am. And he's like, it's fine. I'm like, Dan, you did a great job, but I should have. I said, I told him what I really thought I should have done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, and you could have done this case 100 times up here. You were not going to win. And he said, not with that jury. But that was with Josh Dubin helping us weed through the shit that was there.
Yeah, that's all that was left.
And the problem was we were using our exes to get people off that could not be on the jury in a million years. They were using their exes to get people off that would have seen what happened, seen my side. That's really like we should have gotten twice as many exes if we were going to play that game, because it wasn't the people coming in were so tainted. To give us 10 and them 10 was a joke. We should have had 30 and they should have had 5. You know, I mean, you put the change of venue motion in. But I just feel like if they change the motion to a small town in the Panhandle, it would be the biggest event that ever happened there. It would be, it's on, I'm riding into the court in the morning, and Preston Scott is obsessed with my case. And he has a lawyer that calls in, Spencer Lawyer call in, and he's like giving the play-by-play and like giving it scenarios on it, and like he's obsessed. Every morning he talks about my case. We're riding in the transport van, and the officer's listening to Preston Scott, and I'm sitting in the van and I'm listening to Preston Scott and the lawyer talking about me. And like, of course, my suit is all shackled up, and I'm like, this feels like a fucking movie. Like, and the only thing you can know is you were convicted, Kappelman won, you lost. You lost just the way anyone else loses. But it's like, you would have been beyond a reasonable doubt. Like, if you use your reasoning, and you think you're guilty, you don't guilty. Like, these people fucking hated me. And they used all this extraneous stuff of like, being banned at the worst, and it was tumultuous. Well, most of the worst is are. But like, they made it out like, I mean, they painted such a fucking picture. There was not a chance in hell I was going to get a fair shake in this town. That's your bottom line.
I want to tell you, we were where you were over that weekend. We were all where you were.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody thought anything different other than pretty obvious. He put on an amazing case. Charlie testified perfectly. It's done. He got it.
Yeah.
Everybody said the same thing.
We were very happy. You know.
Like, what the fuck? These people, like, it almost should be like a do-over if you have such a bad verdict. But it's the verdict produced by a prosecutor that brought it, was able to bring in mounds of shit that has nothing to do with me. But it's enough to make you hate my sister. It's enough to make you hate my mother. It's enough to make you hate me. And it's one thing if they just hate you. It's another thing if they hate your whole family and you feel like you're shitting on them in Tallahassee. Miami people coming up here and really, really like belittling us, comic book. There's only one reason why Kappelman read that line from her book. There's only one reason, that's to drive home the message that Wendy thinks she's smarter than everybody else. She foreshadowed her move in a book. She even wrote a book about the move. She knew this move was going to happen. She even wrote a book about it. What was the name of that town, Wendy? That you refer to as a small stop in their plans on the way to civilization. I mean, it is kind of crazy that she wrote a book about that. Don't you think?
What?
I mean, it is kind of creepy that she wrote a book and put that line in there with that town. Like, she could have left that line out of the book. But she didn't know. Like, she was just writing a book.
Of course.
Like, she could have called the town Biloxi. She could have fucking left the line out about it being on a small stop, on a small stop along the way, on the way to civilization. Like, it sounds like she's foreshadowing a future event in her book, doesn't it?
Well, she made it sound like that. I know.
I mean, how many kids does this lady have in the book? 2 boys? What does this lady's husband do? He's an English professor? So he's a school professor? What school does he teach at? What school does he teach out of the book?
I don't know. Do you know? I don't know.
Like,
What school he taught at? I have no idea. In my book, I read it ages ago.
So many years ago.
I think it's North Florida State University.
Make it up. I don't know.
So the husband's a professor at one school? I mean, North Florida State University. And how many boys does she have? 2 boys. Then what's the name of that town? Sounds just like that. And what we say is it's just a small stop on the way to civilization. Like, that sounds, I mean, I'm just telling you, if someone read that line in a book and the author was Lindsay Anderson, it sounds like she's foreshadowing her big move to Miami. Right before she buys a model of Paul Bourbon. Like, and then she drives by, and then did you like the Catwoman goes, she couldn't help herself. She had to drive out her crime scene to make sure it was done.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only liquor store she's ever been to in Tallahassee and bought something, so she went home with it. She was happy. But you know what it looks like?
Oh.
It looks like Mom, that right there is 1 in a million. That she goes on that date at that time by the street on the house, and then they say that she wanted to make sure the job was done.
Right.
I mean, those things like that. Listen, you can't dispute that she didn't take that route. She took the route. She did, but she won. She was there, and she did a 3-point turn.
That's right.
So when you're sitting and you're evaluating the game,
it wasn't where they said.
Right. So I'm just saying, like, I guess it's people. Who knows? But I'm just saying, one said 2 or 3, one said 4 or 5. But the point is, the fact that she put her fucking car there on that time at that date on the way out of her way is enough for people to go, whoa, she must have known something was going on. There's no way she shows up there on that date, on that time, without having prior knowledge. She's involved.
The same nonsense about Bullet Bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the Bullet Bourbon got squashed because they had the email.
They had the invitation.
Yeah, they had the invitation that was sent from 2 people getting married for a stop the bar party to show that, to request a bottle of liquor.
Specific one.
Yeah, which is crazy. Like, which is crazy. I mean, it's crazy. She's going to buy a bottle of Bullet Bourbon to celebrate that night. Like, if she didn't have that email, there's no explaining it. She doesn't drink alcohol. There's 5,000 bottles in the store. She passes by the crime scene, and she goes and buys a bottle of Bullet Bourbon to celebrate that night.
Yeah. Insane.
There's no. I mean, if I heard, listen, calling my parents' home line, that's not crazy. But that, driving by the scene, out of her way, and going to buy a bottle of Bullet Bourbon, I would have to say, like,
I know.
If it smells like shit, it is shit. But no, she really was going to buy a bottle of liquor. She really wasn't. Because, and that's the only liquor store she ever been to. But she said, listen, she couldn't help herself. She had to go check it out to make sure it was done. Okay, that sounds really good. It makes her sound like she's a part of it. And if she's a part of it, then I must be a part of it. So, which story do you think makes more sense? I mean, what is the possible chances on God's green earth that she goes out of her way and drives by that tree from that side? On that day?
It's crazy. It's crazy. It is. I mean, you can't even believe it.
I hate to say it, but it's almost like it's things like that that can make somebody shut out everything else, all the other noise that you're saying, and you go, look, on this day, on this time, she leaves her house. She takes a route that's 5 miles longer. She drives by the scene on this date at this time. Why on God's green earth is she doing that to go to a liquor store when she could go to three of them that are closer? It's called being at the wrong place at the wrong time. But that's not a good explanation. The explanation they want to hear is she's a part of it. She knows. She has to know. How else would she be there? And that's what the jury listens to. And they go, I mean, to me, does that make sense? I mean, if I'm on the jury, yeah. She's showing up, isn't she?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy, fucking crazy. But think about it. What are the statistical chances of her leaving her house and driving by that scene on that date at that time and not being involved?
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. It is. It's absolutely crazy. It's crazy. It's true. It's what happened.
Yeah, but
It's what happened. But I'm asking, what are the chances that her husband was just murdered? She's leaving her house and driving by the crime scene, but has no knowledge of anything going on.
They made a big deal like, well, why didn't she call daycare? Why would she call daycare?
She got a tree fell.
That's exactly because it used to happen all the time. Yeah.
Because they have those summer storms and the trees fall, and like she just was like, like, they didn't think anything of it. They thought a tree fell, and they were cornering off, and they cut the tree and opened up the road, and it's over. But, what are the, I mean, like, if I was sitting at the bar and somebody was telling me the story, that's one part of the story I have a really hard time getting over. Is what is she doing there on that day at that time, leaving her house to go out that she doesn't need to go and go to turn on this street?
yeah, it's a coincidence, you know?
But people don't like to hear it's a coincidence when it's one in a million.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
They don't, because you can
And that
only
was
think
1 in
we're,
a million. That was 1 in a million. That was insane.
that was 1 in a million. That literally was like,
It blows your mind.
Yeah.
I was wondering, I mean, what else do you have to say? Like, if I was on that jury and you start hearing, well, okay, that was a coincidence. Okay, and then the TV repairman, the TV joke, the mom saying this TV is about 5, lots of TV talk, just a coincidence. I wish you picked another object on planet Earth. Other than the TV set to say it costs they wanted $5,000. We should just said they wanted $5,000. My response was they wanted $5,000. I mean, by the way, you didn't bring up TV until the third call. If TV was a really important code word, what did you have said in call 1? What did you have said in call 2? You don't mention TV until call 3.
That's what they don't get. Yeah.
But when you put TV, three things surrounding that same TV, her outlet of the TV costing $5,000 with $100 shows on the TV show, all around it, what are the chances of that? What are the chances of TV showing up 3 times in relation to, I think there has to be a code, and they give it a code name.
Yeah, they had a chart with all these code words. You know?
It has to be a part of it. It has to. Guess what? Had nothing to fucking do with it. Nothing. But listen, if I'm on the jury and I'm seeing the TV joke, the TV repairman at the house on the 18th, and then when you're describing how much the guy wants, you have to reference the TV. Guess what? That looks really, it's a coincidence. But it's a strange coincidence because you couldn't take any other object. I wish I didn't have a repairman there, and I wish I never made that joke. But you've got all three kind of revolving around the same subject matter. Why? Coincidence.
Do you see any evidence in this? No.
But coincidence that when he showed up at the house at that time on that day, out of her way, 10 miles from her house, leave George Kappelman to go. She had to check to make sure it was done. So you're sitting there on the jury, and you've got to think of one of two things. If she showed up there to make sure the job was done, she'd still be held. If she's guilty, then I'm guilty. Or it was just a coincidence, which is what it was. But it's 1 in a million coincidence. And how many times can you say it's a 1 in a million coincidence before you're explaining what they think is what are the chances of it being a coincidence? You know, I mean,
I hear what you're saying.
I mean, then you start telling people playing people for stupid. You know what I mean? It's like, if you want to poo-poo everything as a coincidence, eventually you're going to be like, wait, the guy is stupid. Like, that was a perfect example of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like,
Yeah.
They would never back off of it because everyone knows what are the chances you're 10 miles from your house. I mean, how far did she live from it? 10 miles?
No.
Oh, was it?
No, I think it was closer. It only took about 15 minutes, and we're talking about slow and mostly back roads. So, no.
10 miles? 600 miles?
Yeah.
Okay. But you look at where you are 6-7 miles away, and that's unrelated.
The only way she knew how to get there, she doesn't normally go to a liquor store.
Right, but there was now a shorter route, but it doesn't matter. You're there on that date, on that time, 6 miles from your house, and what reason?
Right.
You went out of your way to go to a liquor store when you could have gone another way? That's just creepy.
That is creepy. It is.
But it's just a coincidence.
I know.
You know, and then what she wrote in the book, that's just a coincidence. So it's like the TV is a coincidence, showing up there's a coincidence.
How many years ago did she write the book? I don't know.
Had 08, 09, something like that.
Yeah, 08. Many years ago. 08.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was a coincidence.
It's a picture for the front page.
Yeah, many years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was writing about the immigration lawyer. She's an immigration lawyer. The lady's got 2 boys. She's got 2 boys. Her husband, school professor. Her husband was a school professor. She was stuck in some town in the middle of nowhere on the way to civilization. Like, that's a nice slap in the face for a town that sounds just like you're describing you and your family, and a town that sounds just like Tallahassee, and now you're going to say that's a coincidence? And you were happy that being stuck someplace on the way to civilization? Like, you start, I think, to the other side, and you start holding that together, and you gotta start explaining to yourself what the coincidence is, and it sounds like she's writing about herself.
But there's also North Florida State University.
No, it was a school she made up the name.
Yeah, but I'm saying there is a North Florida.
No, there's a University of North Florida, something like that. But it was like North Florida State University. I mean, it was like one letter off from Florida State. She was probably writing a book about herself. You know, I mean, she was using her characters, drawing upon herself. But it makes it seem like she's just like, she's on Tallahassee and she's like giving them the middle finger on the way out and writing a book about it.
I know. I'm listening to what you're saying, and it's just
it was
coincidence after coincidence after coincidence. That's all it was.
And it's a book with a line that she never probably thought about, and she just threw in there, like as an offhanded comment, because Tallahassee was the way she probably didn't plan on staying. And she never planned on staying. But like, she grown accustomed to it and was fine with staying. But like, the way it sounds in the book is like, she got stuck someplace on the way to civilization. The way it sounds when you're showing up at the crime scene, going out of your way, when you live 6-7 miles away, hard to explain. TV sets getting repaired on that day, the same TV set that I bought her in the joke, the same TV set she referenced when the Lion King guy wanted to extort me for money. You need a reference to TV set, like 3 TV sets in a row, all the same topic. Come on now. We're not stupid. Like, I kind of see, like, you're dumbing down coincidences. I mean, if she didn't have that email for the bullet bourbon.
Oh, the invitation, yeah.
If she didn't have that email invitation.
That would look really bad, right?
Well, you think she just drives by the crime scene and there's 5,000 bottles in the liquor store, and you buy the one that begins with
yeah.
And you buy the only one that says bullet to go celebrate that night? Now you want to tell me that's a coincidence? You can say, John, that's a coincidence now too? Like, how many times do you want to give an explanation if that's a coincidence? It was. She got the invitation to prove it. 15 years ago, TV says it did cost a couple thousand. The only few, said what's the most common item that you could think of that cost $3,000, $4,000, $5,000? People said TV set.
Yeah.
Not anymore, but 15 years ago, yeah. You probably bought your last set in 10. So, yeah, it happened. But it's kind of like when you start telling people, this is a crazy coincidence, this is a crazy coincidence, this is a crazy coincidence, that's really hard to start doing that with each fact that comes into the case.
No, I know. I mean, when you talk about it and analyze it the way you are,
you don't need to hear much else. I mean, when they told you how she felt in the book, thank God she had that invitation email.
Charlie, you're breaking up. Charlie?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, I lost you for a second. I can hear you.
Okay.
I can.
Yeah, thank God she had that email. Without that email, if someone told me she drove out of her way, drove by the crime scene, picked up a bottle of bullet bourbon and celebrate that night, what would you say? She had to know.
Of course.
She had to know.
Yeah.
There's no way she couldn't have. She was going to celebrate that night with a bottle of bullet bourbon. There's 5,000 fucking bottles in a liquor store to buy. That's what she buys. Not a bottle of champagne, not beer, not rum, not tequila. There's 50 different kinds of bourbon. She buys a bullet bourbon.
I mean, it's so insane. I mean, you're right. It was the fact that she had it. The fact that she had it there.
The one thing she buys in that whole store, the 5,000 items in our liquor store, not Chardonnay, not rosé, full with bourbon. Because most girls like bourbon. Girls don't even drink bourbon. They'll drink a glass of wine. They drink vodka. Very few women are bourbon drinkers. This one is buying bottles full of bourbon as she leaves her house, goes out of the way, and passes by the crime scene. Why do you think they took a picture of it? Because they're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It has to be. I mean, if she didn't have that email, and it was just someone who told her verbally to buy it, it would have been like, oh, I don't remember what I told her to buy.
Yeah.
Like, thank God she had that. Without that, they probably have to deliver it an hour less. I mean, it would have been like, if everything's a coincidence. TV Joe, TV repairman. And by the way, you know why a repairman is the world's worst alibi?
Why?
Half the time you schedule a repairman, you schedule them from 12 to 1, from 9 to 12. They call them and schedule you, they bump you to the afternoon, or they cancel on it. You would never have an alibi for a repairman. I mean, how many times do you have a repair scheduled on delivery and they call and cancel or change it? They should get rid of them. You know, if they showed up at 9, they could have been left by 9:30. Like, my point is, they can also call you at 9 and say, we need to come at 1. Like, I mean, what did she need an alibi for?
Yeah.
But it kind of all fits in with the unluckiness of you saying TV was 5. And by the way, it was such code. As soon as you say the TV is about 5, I'm like, they wanted $5,000? Like, I can give a shit about what the TV 5 means. But I'm like, I blurt out exactly what I'm trying to make sure you're saying is. And I'm like, that's crazy. You know, and like, you don't mention TV till the third call, yet it's so important. So basically, if I didn't call you back a third time, I wouldn't have gotten that in over. You know, if you dissect it like that, it makes sense. Yeah, I would have missed the code if I only called you twice. So you called me, I called you back, and then I called you back the third time. So code word obviously meant nothing if you had to wait for the third call to tell me. A repairman being an alibi, what the fuck did she need an alibi for? She's not involved. So, like, what was she? She was worried they would suspect that she was the shooter. So she got the alibi. If she wanted an alibi, she could have made an appointment for herself on the other side of town that she would have kept. Not worried that a repairman cancels on her. You know, if a repairman cancels on you, the alibi's all gone. I mean, but still, the crazy thing is the route she took and the time she took. And then having to turn, make it the U-turn on the street. Like, that was crazy. Coincidence. Like, that's what they dumped it down to. But there are some coincidences, there's no doubt, but I think people don't like hearing that there's coincidence. They don't like things explained by a coincidence, especially the one in the village.
Yeah.
Like that timing?
It's all of those things, Charlie. All of those things are just...
You know, and then also, by the way, the book that she wrote in 2008, like, she wrote the book 6 years earlier. Like,
That's right.
maybe 2008, 2009. I mean, did she even have her kids at that point?
Ben wasn't born until July 09.
So she may have only had one kid at that time. She may have been pregnant with the second one.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, like, kind of crazy that she put that line in the book and obviously named the city after Tallahassee. So it sounded just like Tallahassee to me when she read it out. Like, it makes the shoe fits. Because I'm going to be talking about myself, taking a place that you feel stuck on the way to civilization with her professor husband. Like, you start putting those things together. I mean, look, none of them have fucking anything to do with me. Like, nothing.
Nothing.
But since it is her movements up here in Tallahassee, you have to assume that everybody's connected. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be, there's no way that, you know, those are independent of me. You know, and then they go back to time mode, they don't get it.
No. No, they don't.
I mean, who knows? Maybe somebody will do a book or a movie and actually take our side and maybe get it.
I've thought of it.
I mean, it's like, you know, maybe somebody will like, listen, if the jury didn't act improperly or the judge didn't make any bad rulings, I didn't have an ineffective counsel. I had great counsel.
Yeah.
So you have to have a reason to appeal the case. Other than you had a bunch of coincidences and a stupid jury.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but all of those things that they were building in, like that was their. They were allowed to bring it in because it spoke to motive. It spoke to state of mind. It spoke to like nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like.
It's so crazy that you can't even imagine that it's real. I mean, it is. It's just so crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm here, and I'm like, I literally never, especially after this weekend, in a million fucking years, like I was basically almost like in the best. I didn't feel like I was in jail. I literally like was in such a good headspace and was like. Went and played basketball with Too-Tall. I hadn't played basketball with him in months. And like, I'll play a couple of games and get a shot. You know, give it my fourth away. Yeah, I never played fours. I gave my coat away. Made a couple phone calls to people I hadn't talked to in a long time. Kind of like hearing positive feedback. Like, that's why I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, Dan's so happy with how the case is going.
Right.
Like, saying to me each step of the way, okay, if I knew just a week ago I was going to be in this place at this point in the case, would I be happy? He goes, I'd be happy. And then, like, literally, like, after I testified, he's like, we're going to win this case. We're going to win. I mean, when they did their opening, he wrote on a piece of paper to me with a marker to write, "We will win."
Yeah.
And then Kate, like, look, the worst you're going to do is a hung jury. The worst you're going to do is a hung jury. And I'm thinking, like, look, we had a good jury consultant, get good people. Dan's an awesome closer. Like, we're going to be kicking some ass in closing. It's, you know, his strength is closing. His strength is closing. And now it's like in a fucking suicide. Blood on the walls and shit on the ceiling. Literally feces all over the place. The sergeant said they're going to clean it after I get out of here tomorrow. She's not touching the walls. Like one slider, literally shit on the ceiling. But like, trust me, I'm touching nothing.
No.
But I mean, talk about like a holy shit! Like I'm like, this is not like a small thing. This is worse than getting cancer. This is a lot worse than getting cancer.
No, I know.
Like I wish I got cancer instead of this. I mean, I literally. And Dan was like, look, I mean, I'm telling you, Mom, he wouldn't have written up these things. He was that sure. He's a lawyer. He knows the court. He knows the facts. He knows the cases.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
Everyone I spoke to who's in that profession or just smart people all said the same thing. Say, oh my God, that's it. You got it. Done.
And Dan's a closer. He's a closer. He always says he's a closer. But he said, listen, the state goes first, we go second, but I'm a closer. Like, that's it. And I was thinking to myself, okay, I did so good testifying. Now, you got to just do as good as I do. You just got to close it and we're going home. And, like, I was so, like, this never, like, that's the way the case and everything. I was, like, hoping it wasn't going to be a hung jury.
Yeah. That's what Dad said.
I was hoping that there wasn't
somebody along the way that hangs it.
Yeah.
Never,
I was thinking, like,
But I knew
Are we-
when they,
Back so fast. Oh, gosh.
when they had, I was saying to myself, you know, I really hope it's not like my favorite three not. Maybe they'll do it again. Maybe they won't. If I get like 9 people voting for me, like really thinking that, like holy shit.
It's unfathomable.
Yeah.
It's not.
I'm funny, like talking to you guys like this, telling me how.
Good. Good. I mean, honestly, Charlie, I know you say, you know, what are the chances, but that's what Dad and I have to hold on to, that there's a chance. And so we are, because we have to. And you just have to think in the back of your head, you know what, there's a chance. In the meantime, you got to deal with what you're dealing with, and we're gonna do anything possible. You know that.
I know. It's going to be a year and a half to 2 years for an appeal, just so you know.
yeah.
No, I do. I do.
You know, a year and a half, 2 years for appeal. Like, if you got a new trial, it would be, 6 months after that. It's, it's a long fucking process. And to get a new trial would be, in this case, a fucking miracle. And guess what? I just had a trial. Like, it was a circus. Can you imagine the circus that it would be if they brought me back? That's why I'm like, talking to you guys for the last hour has been helpful.
Good.
You know?
I just hear you.
I just wanted to.
You put a case together.
No, you did. You
Exactly
explained it
what
really
happened.
well.
Exactly.
We were on cloud 9
We were.
when I thought it was so smart of Dan to say to the judge on Thursday, I've got another 45 minutes to an hour. Well, he only had about 15 minutes with you on Friday, but he didn't want you to be tired out.
I thought you got an hour on Monday, on Friday.
No. It wasn't below.
Okay, I felt like, but I'm,
You know what's
I'm like half white. I've been outside for an hour and a half in the last fucking year and a half.
Yeah.
I know in the last days I have looked at the photo grade when they're putting it up on the projector. I'm like, holy shit, they look like right now. So I was talking to Brady for Roman's birthday. I want to get him like a little bit. He loves country music.
Yeah.
So I want to get him like a little kid guitar that he can start like. I don't know if they make an electronic guitar or if they just give him one with strings, but like something that he can like play. You know, actually like whatever you would give a 5-year-old to start to learn guitar. Like, they may just have more of electronic. I don't know if they'll have a like acoustic guitar or an electric guitar, but something that would like a 6-year-old can learn.
Yeah. Right. I will. I just wrote it down, so I will start looking tomorrow. See what I can find for him.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to get anything like crazy expensive or anything, but something that sticks out. I mean, he may be too young at 6, but he may not be able to do something that's like just required to be too young.
Yeah. No, we will. I'll see what they have, and I'll talk to Bree about it. So I'll get exactly the right thing.
Yeah, I told her I want to get him that. He loves music.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Okay. It sounds like a good idea. It sounds like something he would enjoy.
Yeah, we'll work on that tomorrow.
Yeah. He said something to me tonight. It was like, yeah, we'll get together soon.
Oh.
I'm better now. I just cry. Every time I think of him, I literally just start crying. It's the one thing that, like...
I know. Okay.
It's you know, like, look, you guys are parents, and, you know, like, having a young kid, the 6, the only kid, being here is fucking hard.
I know, Shirley. Believe me, I get it.
Yeah, I understand.
Honestly, as bad as it is being here, it's the only thing that really that kills me. It's not just me, it's him. And it's everything that I could have done with him, like my whole life. Like I went from literally thinking I was going to get my life back to like I would have been better off. Yeah, I would have been better off getting cancer. Like if you gave me a choice between like getting cancer and maybe having a 5-year survival rate, maybe not, and being where I am now, I would take cancer and maybe having a 5-year survival rate and getting out right now. Without a question in the world. Not even a question.
I know, Charlie. I get it.
Not even a question. If you said you have a 50% survival rate for 5 years, do you want to take it out or do you want to be where you are? Not even a question. It's not even a thought. Because the band was so hot. You don't understand. Like, I could see you wrote in ink. When we were sitting there next to each other in trials beginning, and this big went, he's like, he looked at me like, we will win.
Yeah.
I mean, he's never won in his entire career with anything. Like, I can honestly tell you, I've never been as obsessed or worked as hard on a case. He's been to many times in my entire life. He's like, you don't get to trust me. I constantly am talking to other lawyers. I'm talking to other lawyers, other people. I'm always asking, his buddies what they think. He's asking, the guys who ride a bike with him what they think.
All different levels, I know.
Tons of levels. And you know what? It goes down to the one thing I fucking always said, is that the Tallahassee jury is going to be, it's going to be a different story. They're not going to give you a fair shake up here at all. It's going to be a shit show. It's not going to be real. It's going to be a game report. And it was exactly what I thought it would be. But I said that.
I do.
Remember me saying that? Like, you don't understand. Like, it's not they get an Ableton up there, they would go out, they would charge my dog. My dog doesn't stand a chance up there. And I honestly didn't even know all the stuff in the media and the news, because I really tried not to look at anything. But just the little taste that I had, and that was years ago. Like, Kate was like, Charlie, this is global. I mean, Tallahassee never had a story like that here. So they put on a fucking show for that last 2 hours. And I saw it and I was like, if everything they were saying was true, of course you could get it. But it wasn't. It was a bunch of fucking lies and cut and paste, and none of what she was saying was true. And this guy from Preston Scott is like Miss Kaplan, who was brought it home. It was almost like a made-for-TV movie. She put it all. It was like a TV production, watching how she put the whole case together. The problem is she's putting a bunch of things in here that are just merely coincidences. But it's hard to explain stuff as a coincidence and get people to follow you. No one wants to hear the word coincidence so many times. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do, Charles.
There's only so many times you want to hear the word coincidence before you tell me I'm stupid. She drove by his house. She left her place. That wasn't a common route for her to take. Never on that date or that time, ever.
Yeah.
And you're right. But it's like stuff like that, I think, really makes it smell like shit. For lack of a better term, it's like how many times do you want to say it's a coincidence? Oh, there's some of that. Oh, it's just a coincidence. Oh, it's just a... Okay, well, by the fourth time you say the word coincidence, I'm about to say, you thought me stupid? Use your common sense, folks. Well, that's like, when you say use your common sense, folks, that's like saying don't believe the word coincidence.
Right.
Because it's like, how much do you want me to believe, not to believe what I see or hear, and you say it's a coincidence.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm there now, I'm like, that what you say? Now I sit here and I can't believe it. Now I'm going to be on TV. It's a coincidence. Like just so many things, Listen, thank God she had that email for the bowl of bourbon.
That's right.
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 Because honestly, nobody on planet Earth would have $5,000 in the store. She picked that and she got a bourbon drinker.
Yeah.
Then you start going, how many different types are there in the store? How many different types of bourbon are there in the store? You don't even drink bourbon.
That's right. No receipt. Yet nowhere.
Yeah, she didn't have the email. It would be,
Email.
girls drink vodka, girls drink champagne, they drink wine. You never know one to go buy bullets of bourbon.
Yeah.
Like to celebrate that night. Oh, and you don't even drink. You're not a drinker.
Right.
Right. That's all true. Yeah, Suzanne was, I just said to him, you never would have won this case. They just said not without you. And that's with Josh Dubin picking.
Yeah.
He go with a team, had two guys with him. He had this whole checkerboard and yellow hoods all over the place and doing research on jurors and looking up their social media stuff and really doing their due diligence. I mean, it wasn't just, but there were people on there that were so horrible. Most of the exes they had, I was like, yeah, I agree, we gotta get rid of this guy. So it wasn't as useful as it could be because And we weren't being, you know, we couldn't even get into the nitty gritty. We just got rid of people that were bums.
Yeah.
One guy came in, I don't know if I told you this, one guy came in, he didn't really know much about the case. Maybe saw some stuff online about 2 years ago. That's about it. Well, anyway, they do research on his juror, right? This guy posted on his Facebook that he wanted to kill Sigfredo Garcia and thought it would be a good idea.
Oh, my gosh.
3 months ago. Well, he just got done saying he didn't know much about the case. He was lying to get on the jury. And he was like a nice 70-year-old guy who was saying all the right things to get on the jury. Next thing you know, he's fucking posting about it in his post on his public post on his Facebook a few months earlier. If we weren't reading that, we never would have known.
That's right.
If he didn't post about it, we never would have known. He was on the jury. So he got struck for cause. They called him back in and they asked him, you know, have you posted anything online? Have you posted anything on Facebook? And he confessed to it, but we showed it to the judge before we brought him back in. First time through, he was like, on me, 70-year-old, nice guy, how I acted. And he was all about like not knowing much and treating it fair until we realized he's obsessed with the case. He was there on closing arguments. He started coming to the case to watch. So Dan's like, look, you know, we got rid of what we got rid of.
Right.
You know, but like, you know, I don't think these people were being honest with us that are on the jury. You know, as far as what their knowledge was or their opinion of the case or their exposure. I mean, we had 5 people on the jury who had law enforcement in their family.
I don't know how that's allowed, honestly. I don't know how they could allow that.
All on earth is someone comes in and they ask them a whole bunch of questions. They could say they know about the case. They could say they think I'm guilty from what they know about the case. And then they ask the person, well, do you think that you could separate yourself from those thoughts that you had when you came in here today and follow the rule of law and not hold any preconceived notions you had against Charlie Adelson and then treat him fairly? People would go, yes, we had to keep them. And I'm like, you know, Josh Rubin was like, well, then he would ask them, like, okay, you had this preconceived notion that he was guilty, and it was in your head. Now that the judge tells you got to treat him fairly and block everything out, where in your head do you put those thoughts that you just came into the courthouse with just 10 minutes earlier? And a lot of people are like, oh, you're right, I can't separate those thoughts. I don't know where in my brain I can put them. I mean, they're going to be in there somewhere because I had those thoughts coming in. Those people, we were able to strike for cause. But if someone came in and they said, you know, I've read the Tallahassee Democrat, I watched TV, I know much about the case, yeah, I thought he was guilty, but listen, I can be totally fair, I can follow the rule of law, I can listen to what the judge tells me, I can obey the judge's orders. Well, they just rehabilitated themselves, and they're fit to serve on a jury. And then they can come in and say, well, my husband works for the sheriff's office. Do you know any other law enforcement officers? Yeah, like all his friends. Any other ones? Yeah, a lot of officers go to the same church I go to. Okay. Do you think that you can be fair and impartial? Absolutely. I'll listen to the judge's instructions. Okay, sweetheart, you make it to the next one. Yeah. No, I mean, it doesn't preclude them from serving on a jury. They could be a police officer. It doesn't preclude them from serving on a jury. But if they answer everything right, if they don't get struck for cause, then you have to use one of your exes on it. You know, but what you worry about is when people lie to get on a jury pool.
Yeah.
Because now they're important, now they can write a book, now they got a story to tell. You know, now they can go do an interview and tell what they were thinking of this Catwoman, presenting it and bring it all over. I mean, listen, aside from the coincidences that they say are evident, they're not evident. That's a fucking coincidence. But they don't look at it like that.
Yeah.
They look at a coincidence and they're like, you're going to tell me I'm stupid. I mean, the thing with the ones they named, Wendy's book, traveling down the street at the wrong time at the wrong place, Bottle of Bullet Bourbon,
Yeah.
the TV for. And then the way it sounded in that book sounded like she was writing her plans and putting them to paper years before she carried them out.
Rather than talk about what it was actually about, which was about illegal trafficking.
Right. It doesn't matter. I just read you 2 lines from the book and asked you a bunch of questions about her professor husband, her 2 kids, the town that they were stuck in that sounds like Tallahassee, and it was just a small stop on the way to civilization like Miami. Those are your words, aren't they, Wendy? Yep. Did you have something in mind while you were writing it? Like, those 4 things are like, one you can explain away. The bullet bourbon's easy because you got the email. Without the email, that would be the hardest one to explain away. But you got the bullet bourbon, which is very easily explainable. But the others aren't really.
No, they're not.
I mean, it sounds like a very cunning, intelligent author foreshadowing her move from someone who's getting stuck in the town that sounds just like Tallahassee, with a school that maybe sounds just like Florida State, from a town that sounds just like Tallahassee, with her 2 boys and her professor husband moving away. The next one is, but that's, you know,
That's just saying how long ago it was.
well, she must have had it in the plans that long. That makes it even worse. She's been planning this a long time. And then the fact that she leaves her house and drives 7 miles and goes out of her way and drives by and does a U-turn on that street. That's a crazy coincidence. The book is crazy foreshadowing. The TV code is crazy code talk. Like, then you take those 3 coincidences and then you tie it in with upsent emails, you know, calling them curse words and Nazi uniforms for the kids, and it sounds like an unhinged lunatic is upset. Then you got check number 2. You know, and it's like, then you go ahead and you throw an autopsy photo up there for 10 minutes in between all those coincidences. And then you start talking about her divorce and about how she was really hiding how much she really hated Tallahassee. And like, you got people hating you at that point. And Dan said to them, like, you don't have to like him. You can dislike him to quit. But here's the problem. You throw all this extraneous bullshit, coincidence, crap in the pot of soup. And then you start taking snippets of other things. Those snippets start carrying a whole lot more weight. That's where she got it all. That doesn't tie it all together with coincidence. Because you can't explain a coincidence.
She had a little help over the weekend because she was dead in the water on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
She was dead in the water. Everyone knew it.
She was not. I mean, she was dead in the water, but she came. That was a TV production. She put those autopsy photos up for fucking 5-10 minutes. It felt like each time.
I never, watching this, nobody thought even that they were putting anything up. Nothing.
That was not.
Oh, yeah.
That was not shown.
Yeah, they wouldn't show it on TV. They showed horrible photos. Horrible. And she put it up, and she just left it. I mean, it's just like on a 10 by 12 projector, bright screen, right in flat in front of it. Like, you can't not look at it.
Only the jury saw that, right?
Well, I had it on a monitor in front of our desk, and it's hooked up to a monitor.
That's right. On your monitor.
So I had it square in front of my face on my monitor, and the monitor is like a foot high and a foot and a half wide. But the projector is like 8 by 10 feet by 10 feet, and it's flat in front of the jury. And she would walk that up, and then she would talk and leave that up there for like, for a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean twice, maybe 3 times. Each time she was talking for like 7 minutes while I was looking at a horrible photo. I mean, literally would make anyone very upset. Horrible photo. And it's like, you're looking at like a head shot on an all-housey table that was pretty fresh from that, recent. And it's horrible. I was looking at that. And then they're talking about, and Wendy just happens to drive down the street. Like, why is she driving down the street? Somebody must have told her something. It's going to happen. Like, tying it all together. The fucking coincidences really help tie everything together. Because you can't explain coincidence. I can't explain why you pick TV.
No.
I can't explain why Wendy has a TV repairman at the house. And most of all, I can't explain when Wendy was moving out and I said, what does Wendy need for her house? Just let me know and I'll be my present. He said, well, she left the TVs behind. I said, all right, we'll go buy her a nice TV from Best Buy and that'll be my divorce present to her. And to do that, when I gave it to her, I made a stupid joke. Which it's like kind of a recycled joke. I've heard different variations of people. Like, you got someone a bottle of scotch. They'd be like, well, they were getting divorced. And they're like, well, I didn't know whether to get you a bottle of scotch or a hitman. So I got you the bottle of scotch and it's cheaper. Like, it's a fucking joke.
I have friends my age who have made that comment about their ex-wives. So it's nothing.
It's a recycled variation of a recycled joke because obviously I was only getting her the TV set and I know she was going through a hard time with him, so I made it funny. That was it. I wish to God it was another object other than a TV. The same TV that she was having repaired that day? The same TV that you were bringing up when the Latin King member was extorting you? TV. They'll tell you it's a coincidence. Like, that's like someone saying you're stupid when they keep telling you it's a coincidence. But you can't explain it. Because you can't explain a fucking coincidence. But Wendy showing, trust me, they're not going to back off Wendy showing up and driving down Prescott. Which is asinine, because if you think about it, if someone hired a hitman, wouldn't the first place on the planet they would be is the crime scene?
See, but these people were so stupid. That's such an obvious answer. Such an obvious thing.
No, but what Kappelman said was she couldn't help herself, but then to go find out it was already done. She couldn't help herself. Well, I guess the person's crazy, and they really did do it. Okay, well, maybe she couldn't help herself. She wanted to go see if it was done. Could be an explanation. Like, she did show up. That's an explanation other than saying it's a coincidence. The other person saying the word coincidence, you got kind of an explanation. Like, she couldn't help herself. Like, it's sounding creepier as you're putting it together. Like, you know, and they laid groundwork with the book, the emails, the fucking TVs, bottle of bourbon. Like, so I think it's all of the questions how tying bullshit facts together, combined with her saying that people said things they never said, was spectacular. If what she was saying was true, it's very believable. But what she really honestly, like, and that's how I was feeling while I was watching it. I was thinking, like, shit, if what she was saying was actually true, I think it makes it easy to convince me. But it's not true at all. It's not facts. She would stand up there with witnesses that supported her fucking story. But the crazy thing is, it's like fucking coincidences you can't explain away. All you can say is it's a coincidence. You just don't want to use that word too many times. Then you feel like people are saying you're stupid. So, I got 2% on my phone. I can talk to you guys sometime. I'm going to give them
I thought you were going to get a chance to charge it tonight.
I will. No, they'll take it from me.
Oh.
It shuts off. And, I probably got another 15 minutes of that. But I don't know. I literally feel like I'm going from winning the Super Bowl to holy shit. But I've never had a letdown like this in my life. This is not just a letdown. This is like.
I was just going to say it's not a letdown. Believe me.
This is
I know it's not a letdown.
It's not a letdown. This is like a fucking nightmare. Like a letdown is like when your plane gets canceled or you get stuck in the airport.
Yeah.
Like, you know, something doesn't go your way and you go get them. You know, you reapply or get another job or you get fired. Like, this is like, holy shit. This is like,
Yeah.
this is insane. Like, Dan was pretty upset.
Oh my God. He was upset. And everybody that loved you was upset. And friends of ours were upset. It was as I said, look, I've gotten all these phone calls tonight. I don't respond. I don't want to talk to anyone. Ruth called. I just let it go. I'm not answering any of these. The only reason I asked Rick and Sue to help is because I needed help. But other than that, no, nobody. I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. I'll talk to Dan. That's it. I don't want to talk to anybody.
No, trust me. I'm fucking speechless. I literally, like, I don't know how to describe it. I wish to answer on anybody, but I really think I would be way less unhappy if I found out I had a cancer and I have a 50-50 chance of living and walked out today than shit. This is insane. Like, I mean, and the thing is, that they won so fucking convincingly is what scares the shit out of me. Like, this is exactly how I saw it being played out and coming up to Tallahassee. Exactly. And this is like without having a great lawyer and Josh Dubin and a whole team of people working on it. It's an impossible fucking case to win in Tallahassee. It's unwinnable. I said to Dan today, I said, you could do this case 100 times. I don't think you would win one time. You got to get 12 people to vote your way. 12. To have a verdict, it has to be unanimous. 12 for you or 12 against you. Like I was thinking it was going to be like 10-2, 11-1. I remember one time Dan saying also, like, he'd be pissed if he hang. Like, he didn't want to hang. He wants a fucking verdict. He wants to win.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll be pissed if we hang. He's like, we're not going to do worse than hanging. He goes, but I'm telling you, I'm coming there to win. I'm not coming there to hang. Like, think about what would have to happen in the next trial to walk out of that courthouse. That's like what one of the bailiffs was jail down below. He goes, you realize you need 12 people to win. All 12 have to vote your way.
Right.
Not 11, 12. Has to be unanimous to walk out. So think about it. We just, with all the work that we did, we couldn't get 1 out of 12. That's scary.
I don't know how they picked the two people that were alternates, that both would have voted for you. How did they become alternates? How did that happen? Who picks the alternates?
It works that way because you go through the ones that you would pick, and then it's weird how it goes. It starts in the bottom and you start crossing people off the list, and then it's like, okay, after we both run out of exits, the next ones become alternates. It's like we put stuff to them sooner. It kind of goes in order. So definitely one of the alternates would pick me. Definitely one of the guys would. I didn't know that there was a second one. Maybe there was a second. Maybe you would have had a hung jury.
Yep, they would have had to hang it and do it again. And then you learn from the system. Yeah, but you know what?
And you run it back. But you're still in the game.
Right.
This is like not 1 in fucking 12. Like, and I hate to say it, but it's exactly what I fucking knew I was going to be dealing with when I came up here, and I felt it in my bones that this is what I'm going to have in Tallahassee when an Adelson comes up here, and it's going to be like a fucking shit show, and you're not going to get a fair shot, and this, that, and the other. And Dan was like, no. He's like, we're going to do the work. We're going to look at everything. We'll have answers for everything. Like, you're innocent. We'll be able to prove it. Like, I'm coming up there to win. I'm not coming up there to hang. And I'm thinking, like, my gut, I'm like, he's like, no. He's like, we're coming up to win. We're hoping the arguments happen that first day. He wrote out a piece of paper to me while I was sitting there and marker, we will win. He was so sure. He would never have taken his marker and wrote down a sticky pad.
No.
And
he was, everyone was sure. And he certainly, because he doesn't do that unless he believes it.
Yeah, it makes him look bad. It would make it look really bad. Like, we will win. Like, after they did their opening, like, oh, we got them. We got them. And then as the case was going, I said to him, I said, how would it do, Charlie? If you would have told me he said to me, like, after Friday, if you would have told me we'd be where we are today a week ago, I would have been ecstatic. That's after, 7 days of trial testimony?
Yeah.
So we did Thursday, Friday, then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then I testified on Thursday, testified on Friday. Wendy's divorce attorney testified that, like, no, these things were not a big deal to Wendy. They weren't a big deal to me. Like, and I said, Dan, how are we? He goes, Charlie, you had told me after 7 days of trial, we'd be where we are today He was very, very happy. Because I was ecstatic. He said he was ecstatic. Monday comes, like Scott said, Georgia Kaplan put together it was like a TV movie, put the whole cake together, and she sold it as a protocol. They fucking didn't listen to a thing that had happened in the 7 days before. It was a day and a half I spent on the stand.
The caller has hung up.